Nice. Okay, we are live on YouTube.
Whoa.
Dave. Hello,
Hello.
Hi.
Dave.
Oh, I have an echo.
Huh? Have you played the guitar right before?
Yes, I did. Waiting music.
Nice. You should you should bring a guitar to every meetup.
Yeah, I do. I will.
Awesome.
Can you hear the thunder also?
We what?
We have a great thunderstorm here in Hamburg, so I hope my connection will stay okay, and I hope I will not get that distracted by the thunderstrokes.
Okay. In Berlin, it's very sunny weather, very warm.
Yeah, it just started 50 minutes before. So I had to, I was rushing outside to bring everything inside or make it safe because of wind and rain.
Mm.
Someone brought the own sofa. There's just a sofa dropped. Why? How is this possible?
You can click space on your keyboard and scale it or rotate and place somewhere. I don't know.
Okay. This is funny. Oh, magic. The magic
Oh,
cube.
hi.
Oh yeah. Is this a thunderstorm or it's your
Yes.
stomach?
Wait, let me just check. I closed the window.
Yeah, nice. I will go to the restrooms and will be back in 5 minutes. See you soon.
Oh, too much information.
Do you want more information? See ya. Anastasia, you want to go with this
Yeah.
slide presentation?
Yeah, just wait. I will clean up the room
Yeah.
from the objects because it's more.
So everybody who wants
it's
to get an introduction into the VR room, Anastasia is going to explain us all the details about this fancy room here.
It works. You can see it.
Oh wait.
Okay. So I'm starting. Hi and welcome at the first Angular meetup in VR. My name is Anastasia Miroshnichenko and I am augmented reality developer. Today I'm happy to introduce you how to use Mozilla Hubs. Hubs is a social VR platform that runs right in your browser. It's an open source and you can find it on a GitHub. First, after entering the room in a Hubs, try to explore the new space. You can go out, swim in a lake, or jump right onto the roof. For that, on a desktop, please use your keyboard with WASD keys to move around, or use your right mouse button to jump. Rotate your view using the Q and E keys, or hold down your left mouse button and drag. Let's take a look onto the user interface. At the top right, you can see free cubes icon. It's number 8 on my slide. This is the object browser. You can click on it and hover to see the objects shared in this room. Also, you can find here the speaker slides, like for example mine, and hover on it, you will get the presentation in the full screen view. At the top center, there are buttons to share your screen, mute the microphone, create an object, take photos, and many more. At the top left corner is a menu button. Here you can set up your name as your real name or a nickname and customize your avatar. The same edit function you will find in the member list button on the top right. Here is a video how to do that. You can choose one from the existing avatars or upload your own 3D model. And by the way, I'll type in the URL so you can create your own. Here you are. You can use this URL to make a selfie and create your own avatar. In Hubs, you can import different 3D models, images, videos, and PDFs. You can also add a media or by dragging and dropping a file into the room. To manipulate with the objects, hover on your cursor over the object and press the space bar on your keyboard or tab key on a desktop. From here, you can rotate, scale, clone, delete, or pin your 3D object. Now we want to give you some time to play around with Mozilla Hubs, explore the space, and customize your own avatar. And please feel free to ask any questions about Mozilla Hubs. Thanks.
Woohoo! Thank you, Anastasia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
We need
Nice.
Thank you too.
Cool. So I would say you can play around like 10 minutes with the avatar thing and yeah, go around. And in 10 minutes, we will do the introduction slides. And then we will introduce our first speaker. That will be Sid today about Angular Ivy. So yeah, let's come together in 10 minutes and looking forward to it.
Yay.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, Bab Dave.
I was wondering how long it takes until you notice me. I'm dancing.
Thorsten. Maybe it's muted on the top center of your user interface. You see the second icon is a Microsoft, or is a microphone.
Mm.
If it's not, then you need to switch the audio input in the browser.
So everybody can see the slides?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I just going to prepare this. So is Sid also here?
Yeah, Robin.
Yeah, I saw him.
Okay. Do you want to try to share your slide in this room, or should we go directly to the Zoom version?
I can try sharing it here.
Okay. So yeah, and now your voice is really good and the quality is fine. So
Awesome.
okay.
Great.
Then I will make an introduction, and then you can set up your screen share and like relaxed, and then you can start with your talk in a few minutes.
Sure thing.
Cool. Okay. So I'm just going to delete the selfie box here. Sorry for that. Okay. Karina,
Yes.
is it loud enough when I'm speaking from here?
I think so. Yes.
Do you want to come a little bit? Do you want to come a little bit closer that you hear it good in the stream?
I can come closer.
So, okay. So I'm going to start. So welcome everybody to our Angular Berlin VR virtual reality meetup. I'm really excited to try out this new technology and the new possibilities here. So we are all stuck at the home office at the moment. So I think it's a really cool alternative to have a feeling of being in the room, and you also can like split up to groups later and talk to your speaker. Because you don't hear people that are too far away from you. So it's really nice, and it's a different kind of online meetup. So first of all, I want to introduce the organization team. So we have Karina. Karina is doing our live stream on YouTube. So thanks for doing that. It's I hope the quality and the sound is good. It's our first time we're going to try this. So use the comments in the YouTube section to or this live chat to say if it's good or if you can like enhance, improve some things. Then we have Anastasia. Anastasia had the great idea with this VR room and already did this introduction about this VR. Thank you really much for that. I'm really happy to try this out. Thank you for that. And we have Danny. Danny has internet problems at the moment, but also is helping with organization and created the slides for the meetup. And me, Robin. Hi. I'm also part of the organization team. I co-organized speakers and the tech, and looking forward. So for all of you, this is a virtual space. That don't mean we don't have any rules here. Be aware that our code of conduct applies also for our virtual space. So be nice, friendly to each other. We don't accept any kind of discrimination or racism or anything in this room or in our general organization here so far. So everybody is included, everybody is welcome. Please make sure that everybody feels welcome and is included. So yeah, thanks to our sponsors, Angular.de, Workshops.de. It's so Karina and me are working at Workshops.de at Angular.de, and it's part of Karina's job to organize such meetups. And I'm really happy to have the possibility to do that. And yes, we're also streaming it live at the YouTube channel. You also can go afterwards to this Angular.de YouTube channel. This is a YouTube channel. It's free. If you want to share some videos of you or meetups for you, feel free to contact us. We gather there information and videos all about Angular on the domain, angular.de on the website, in articles and text. We also have a cool newsletter who is informing you about all the meetups, and on the YouTube channel, you can see videos, meetups, talks about Angular. So as Anastasia also mentioned, if you want to change your avatar to some fancy avatar, like my strange one, this is strange here. The funny thing is, I'm really looking like this at the moment because of Corona. I'm shaving my hair on my own, so I look a bit strange at the moment. And you can do just a little photo, and then there's the avatar calculated with your photo, and you get a picture like this on 3D model like this. Okay, so coming to our talks, the first talk we're going to see is from Sid. Sid is at the moment in Australia, so his local time is like 4 a.m. or something. So it's really crazy, and I'm really thankful that you're doing that. And he will talk about what we can do with Ivy in a few minutes. And after that, Web Dave, that's the avatar here with this strange looking beard. It's pink with this crazy hair. It's really nice. I like it a lot. We'll have an open discussion about diversity. So as I know, there's an introduction with a few slides, and then we have an open discussion about diversity and what does it mean, and also how can we achieve a more diverse tech scene for all of us. So I'm changing back to the meetup. So has anyone any open questions so far? No? Okay, cool. Sid, I will close my presentation here. Do you want to share your screen and align it on the place? I also can help you by pinning it on the wall.
Yeah, sure thing, Robin. Sure.
Okay,
Yes.
then I go to stop my share screen. You can drop it there, and then I can help you to.
Okay, I'll start sharing.
Perfect. So let me help you to place it. So wait. Also not easy for me.
When I'll start facing the audience.
So now I thrown it away. So how can I can skate it like this? So wait, this. I will scale it more. Okay, let's scale it. And scale it more. So what about this? Can everybody see the screen of Sid?
Yes.
Okay. So then I will go
It
to
might
pin
look
it.
like Inception, but
Yeah. So I think you can
Oh
go here
no,
into the front.
there's a
also
room in the
there's a
room.
lag
There's a
in
And
my
room in the
voice for
room.
some reason.
there's a lag in your voice.
I think so.
Okay. Can you introduce yourself? And if there's any lag, we going to switch to the Zoom streaming.
Let me try just with this for a while and let's see how it goes. If that's okay. Is that okay?
It's a little bit laggy, but it's okay. I think you can just just try to start. We have a backup ready.
Okay, sure. Um, Maybe I'll also start recording on my local machine so that just in case this doesn't go well, we still have a recording. Okay, and yep, let's start. So, hello everyone. I'll be talking about the future of Angular with Ivy today. Now, all of you who are following all the other people who are like really vibrant in the Angular community have been working with Angular for past some time and have been involved with using beta testing and working with Ivy would say this, and you might hear them or read about them saying this again and again, that Ivy is an enabler. So Ivy is definitely an enabler, and we will be seeing what all features does it enable us to have in the near future. So we'll somehow justify this statement throughout this talk. Now, when the Angular team started building Ivy, they had a few design goals in mind, and they classified these design goals into three major categories. It was all about optimizability, incrementality, and flexibility. So we can now see that the Angular builds and bundle sizes have decreased a lot, and that is a result of a few of these things. One such thing is like not generating any metadata files while running the Angular compiler, especially in case of components. So whenever you run ngc, which eventually runs the Angular compiler, um, instead of a few files like the metadata file, the ng factory file, and the ng summary file that it used to generate at the time of the view engine, is now changed to just generation of one file, which is the component.js file. And this file has all the necessary information that this component needs in order to run itself. Now, whenever it is dependent on any of the external dependencies, then it refers to these dependencies by a very clean public API, which is also what the Angular team calls locality. So um, now, whenever we run the ngc, which is the Angular compiler, against any of these specific building blocks like the Angular module, the component, directive, service, or a pipe, then it somehow attaches a specific type of static field to the generated JavaScript class file for these particular building blocks. Like for example, in case of a component, it would generate a theta cmp static file by calling the theta theta define component instruction. And this is how it looks like. So this is what the generated code by the Angular compiler looks like for an Angular component. Here we can see that we have a component class, but then apart from that component class, we also have two static fields, which is the theta FAC static field and the theta CMP static field. And then we also have a lot of these other um, syntax that we can see, which is prepended with a theta symbol. What exactly are these? So these are the IV instructions. And now the whole Angular framework itself is now broken down into many of these smaller and more granular IV instruction sets. What this allows us to do is to break the whole monolithic um, framework into smaller and more granular specific aspects of the whole Angular framework itself. So there is an IV instruction for each and every specific use case that we might come across in Angular. There is an IV instruction set for DOM creation, which is exactly what we see right here where we are exactly creating the DOM. Then there are IV instructions for data binding, change detection, for generating templates, for SVGs, dependency injection, and so on and so forth. What this also allows us to do is tree shaking. So if there is some part of the framework that we are not using, then we can tree shake it off as well. And a lot of this is also somehow a byproduct of locality, as I mentioned. So with locality in place, we can now ship pre-compiled code to npm. And so whenever you change any specific thing in your sources, then um, we can be confident to only compile your sources, because there is no need to actually compile anything related to the third party libraries that you might depend on, which results in faster compilation, builds, and test execution as well. Now, this is a brief overview of what design goals the Angular team had in mind when it came to working on Ivy. But this talk is not about optimizability and incrementality. This talk is about flexibility. So throughout the rest of the talk, we will be discussing about a few things that we will be able to do in the near future with Ivy. But before that, let me quickly introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Siddharth Ajmera, and I'm a full stack JavaScript developer based out in Sydney, Australia. I'm a Google developer expert in Angular, and I write for publications like indepth.dev from time to time. I also have um, two courses on Udemy. This is one of those. It has around 54,000 students enrolled. And just in case you might want to reach out to me, my Twitter DM is always open, and I'm available on Twitter with this handle. So just in case you might wanna reach out, come say hi. Also, throughout this talk, I will just be focusing on the things that we can do in the near future with Ivy. But there was a talk that we have already given, that I've given with Martina, wherein we discuss about what actually Ivy is and what all are the things that we can do with Ivy right now. So from now on, till the end of this talk, I will be focusing on what all things that we will be able to do in the near future with Ivy. But I'll still recommend you all to check this talk out. The link to this talk, the recorded session of this talk is right here. So I'll be sharing the slides at the end, so you can just watch this. All right. So what exactly do we have for the future? I'll be demonstrating this with the help of a few examples so that it's a bit more clear. Now, before I start, I just want to highlight one thing, that Angular modules are linchpins in Angular applications. Now, Angular applications are extremely feature rich. There is a lot that is taken care of by the framework itself. A lot of heavy lifting is done by Angular modules. A few of these things that Angular modules handle are change detection, as well as somehow scoping the declarables that we use in an Angular application, like the components, the directors, and the pipes, and stuff like that. But the whole um, the whole API of Angular and the learning curve that we have when it comes to starting with Angular is still a lot. So the Angular team is consistently trying to make that or flatten that learning curve. And one specific thing that we can start doing is by making modules optional, the Angular modules optional, so that whenever somebody starts, then they don't have to go through the whole modules concept, and they can just start simple with just components. But like I said, Angular modules are extremely crucial. They are the linchpins. So they are responsible for quite a lot of things. And change detection is like one of those major things. But if we don't really use Angular modules and we just want to render Angular components, what exactly do we do? Well, in those cases, these other things that Angular modules are responsible for, we will have to take care of on our own. With that being said, let's start with the very first code example, wherein we will see how we can render an Angular component from scratch without using any Angular module. So I have these examples in stack blids. This is the very first example. Let me just close this file first. Okay, let me restart. Right. So you, it might not look like a regular Angular project, right? Because we don't have all these different files that we generally see in an Angular project, like the main.ts, and then there is this app folder inside which we have all our sources and assets and whatnot, right? This project or this particular example just have 4 files. It has an index.html, an index.ts, a package.json, and in the dependencies, you can just see 4 dependencies here. The very main dependency is Angular core, but these other 3 dependencies, which is RxJS, Zone.js, and TSLib, are peer dependencies of AngularJS. So even if we don't want them, they will still end up in the dependencies because Angular core depends on it somehow. Now in the index.html, we just have this tag, which is IV. This can be anything basically, but I've just decided to name this IV. Package.json is also very simple, wherein we have just the dependencies, and ideally ESLib should be a part of dev dependencies, but yeah, just for the sake of simplicity, I've added it to dependencies section. And that's pretty much it about the package.json. The main thing is actually going on inside the index.ts file. Let's open that up. Now, in the import section, you'll see a lot of these theta prefixed functions that I've imported from Angular core. What exactly are these? Well, we have already seen that these are a few IV instructions that Angular uses in order to um, render things to the DOM. So we have a very simple component class, which is named IV component. On this class, we have a property called name, and then there is a method called toggle name, which somehow toggles the name. So apart from that, we have 2 static fields on it. We have a theta FAC static field, which is responsible for generating an instance of this IV component class. And then there is this theta CMP static field, which is a result of calling the define component IV instruction, which we see here. Now, the define component IV instruction takes a metadata object, which is this, and This metadata object has a few things on there, like the type, the selector. Then there are some declarations, there are some variables and constants. But the main thing to note here is this template function. This is the function that gets called when we want to render the template of this component. And there are two if conditions in here. And this template method also gets called with two
Sid, can
arguments
you
that we can.
increase the size of the editor a bit?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
The text size?
Mhm. Is it better now?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so let me just quickly explain this once again. So initially we have these IV instructions that we have imported from Angular core, and this is a very simple TypeScript class that has a simple property which is name, and then there is also a method called toggle name. But apart from these two properties, there are additional two properties which are static in nature. So one of them is this theta FAC static field, which can be considered as a function that needs to be called when we need to generate an instance of the IV component, which is our class. So that's why you'll see that we are newing up the IV component and then we are simply returning it um, from this theta FAC static field. The second thing is the theta CMP static field, which we are calling, which is a result of calling this theta define component IV instruction. And then to the call to this theta define component, we are passing in a metadata object that looks something like this. Now, this metadata object has a few things like the type and the selector and other things of sorts. But the main thing to note down here is the template function. The template function is called when we want to render the template for this component, and it gets called with two things. The first thing is a render flag, and then there is this context. So the render flag determines what specific pass this rendering is going on for, whether it is the whether it is the initialization pass or whether it is the change detection pass. So if the value of render flag is 1, then it would be the initialization pass, wherein would initialize the template. So while initializing the template, it would run a few IV instructions uh, in order to generate some markup. So for generating the markup as well, we are calling a few IV instructions like element start, element end. Then there might be a text in there which is represented by this text IV instruction. There is also a listener somewhere on the element that is present at the second index, which is a button. The listener is for an event named click. And once this event triggers, then we are calling a method called toggle name on the context. So you can think of context as the instance of this component itself. And the toggle name method is already present on this component class. So whenever the click event happens on this button, then the toggle name method is going to get called. And there is also a text on there, which is called change name, which we see right here. And then this element ends as well. So you see a general idea of there is going to be an initialization in terms of how many elements are there in the template. So we can see that there is an H1 element that starts at the 0th index. But on that H1 element, there is also a text somewhere. So that is represented on the first index, which we see right here. And then this element ends. The second element starts from the second index, which is this button. There is a click event listener on there. And then there is also a text node present on this button at the third index. And then finally, the element ends as well. So this is how the template gets initialized. But what about change detection? Well, I said that the render flag, if the value of it is 1, then it corresponds to the initialization phase. But then if its value is 2, then it corresponds to the change detection phase. So in change detection, what exactly can be done? Well, we can somehow try to interpolate whatever we have as the property. So on the H1, we are binding to the context name, which we have as a property on the TypeScript class right here, this one, right? So if it needs to change, then what we do is we advance to the first index where we have this text node. So remember this one that we placed, this one. So this one is the index, and that text node is present at the first index, which is this one. So we advance to that index by using the advance IV instruction. And then we call another IV instruction in there, which is called text interpolate. So if you hover over this, then you can see that it updates the text content with single bound values surrounded by other text, right? So you can use this in order for text interpolation or string interpolation, basically. So here it is going to get the updated value of that name and or the initial value of that name, and then it is going to interpolate that onto this text node. So this is what the template function looks like. The final thing that we have in here is a call to a specific instruction, which is called the render component instruction. Now, what exactly is the render component instruction is going to do? Well, it is going to take the definition of the component. So there would be a class with its original members, which would be properties and methods that we might have on the class. But apart from that, depending on the class, it would also have other things. Like for example, in case of a component, it would have these additional theta FAC and theta CMP static fields. With that in place, that's probably the only thing that Angular needs in order to render this component. So with that, we can just call the render component IV instruction and then pass it that thing along with a metadata object where we can configure a few things like host. So you can think of host as something on the top of which this component is going to get rendered, which is the index.html um, host that we had. The name of this tag is IV. So that's exactly what I pass to the host as a value. And with the help of that, we are able to render this component here, as you can see. Now, since I'm having a click listener on this button, which we see right here, as soon as I click on this button, I should be able to see the text getting changed. But I'm actually clicking on the button and the text is not getting changed, right? So what exactly could be the reason? Well, remember that I initially said that Angular modules take care of a lot of things for us. And so if you're not really using Angular modules, then we'll have to do all those things on our own. And change detection is one of those things. So what we can do in this case is here when we are changing the value of the name property, we can call another IV instruction that tells Angular that, okay, whenever you are running change detection, you just update this particular value as well. So that IV instruction is mark dirty. I can just call that and then pass it the instance, which is this. And with that in place, as soon as I click on the button, you will see that the text which is getting interpolated here changes, right? So this is the first example wherein we saw that we can just render an Angular component without the help of any Angular module. And we can also detect changes on this component without even using Zone.js. So here mark dirty is something that we have imported right from Angular core. So it doesn't in any way rely on Zone.js as such. So that is the first example of rendering component. But there is an issue with this particular apart from that, we also need to remember uh, the way this whole template is written, right? So even if we somehow miss any specific call to an IV instruction, then things might break, which is something that we don't want. We just want as developers to write something that we are actually used to writing in an Angular component, and then let Angular take care of generating all these static fields for us, right? Like this FAC and the theta CMP static fields. So how exactly can we do that? Well, that's where something that we have already seen comes into the picture, which is this ngc thingy. So we all know that when we run ngc, then it somehow compiles our Angular application. So during compiling our Angular application, it would somehow transform our sources from the way we have written to the way the runtime actually needs it in order to run, right? So thinking about that and keeping that in mind, we can actually somehow use the compiler in order to do this whole process. Comes into the picture, and that's what this next tutorial demo is all about. So this is the exact same demo, but apart from the four, we still have these four files. We have still the index file wherein we have the host. Then we have this index.ts file. In the package.json, you might now see there is an additional entry, which is for the Angular compiler, which we will also be able to see in the dependencies right here, this one. So what exactly has changed now? If I open up the index.ts file, you'll now see that we are not importing all those IV instructions that we imported in this first example right here. We are just importing a very small number of IV instructions, which is the theta render component IV instruction, the theta compile component IV instruction, and the theta mark dirty. Now, apart from that, we have this metadata object wherein we have a selector and a template. And this looks very similar to the metadata object that we pass to the add component decorator. So we still have a selector and a template in there. And then we just use this metadata as a as an argument that we pass to the add component decorator. And then on this TypeScript class, we still have the name and the property and the method. But we don't have the static fields like the theta FAC and the theta CMP that we initially used to have in the first example. Instead of that, we are calling the compile component IV instruction. So the compile component IV instruction is taking the IV component that we already have here, along with some metadata that we have at the top, like the selector and the template. And now the theta compile component IV instruction is now responsible for adding or appending this component class with the theta FAC and the theta CMP um, static fields. And then we can simply call the render component IV instruction just the way we did in the first example right here. So we can actually see the theta compile component IV instruction appending those static fields on the top of this IV component class. So if I open this up in a new tab, let me just open this up right here. And also let me open up the dev tools. Now in the sources, I can place a breakpoint right here where I log the IV component to the console, which is this that I've done on line number 36. So if I try to place a breakpoint right here and reload this, then let's see what happens. So it should ideally break at the exact same line right here. But in the code, you'll see that we didn't really append those theta FAC and the theta CMP static fields. But if I go back to this source and navigate to the console, type in IV component and press a dot here, then you will see that there are these theta CMP and theta FAC static fields appended on this IV component class. So where exactly did they come from? Well, they came from the call to the theta compile component IV instruction. And you can also verify that by typing in theta CMP on the top of it, which returns us this object. On the top of this object, you can see that there should be a selectors array, and then there should be a template as well, which is a function that takes 2 arguments, and so on and so forth, which is something that Angular is going to then leverage and call to render the component. So this still works as expected. I can still see that once I click on change name, the name gets changed as well. But now everything is happening with the compiler doing all that hard work for us and us not required to actually code these theta FAC and these theta CMP static fields that we saw in the first example. So this is a more simpler version of the first thing, which is completely developer friendly, right? But this still can be an issue in some cases wherein we might forget to call the theta compile component and the theta render component IV instructions. So what exactly can be done about it? Well, there is a very clever thing that Uri did once. So what he did was that he created a higher order component or decorator out of it. And then inside this decorator, what he did is he manually called the compile component uh, IV instruction and gave it the component and the metadata. Now, apart from the compile component, I also added the call to the render component right here. And now if I go to my index.ts file, then I can simply see that there is just this component class that we have with the property and the method. And then and then this IV component class is decorated with the compile and render component higher order component or the decorator that we just created. To this, I pass the selector and the template, and then that's all it needs to first compile this component and then render it right here. And it's simply returning the component to us. So with that in place, you will see the exact same behavior that we saw in this second example, wherein we have the component getting loaded and change detection working as well. So let's wait for this application to open up. I might close this one. And yeah, so the application, the component is getting rendered. I can click on change name to also change the value on that particular uh, property, which is great, right? So now at this moment, I'm able to render an Angular component without actually using Angular module. Now I'll just give you around 5 seconds to digest whatever I've shown so far and just realize how great this is, right? Because now you don't really need Angular modules anymore. You can just use these instructions in order to render a component from scratch without even using Angular modules. And this is also great in terms of um, rendering components dynamically or lazily, right? So we can still do that in Angular 9, but how exactly do we do it? Well, let's say that there is this dynamic component that we want to load lazily. Now, if I open up my app module, then you will see that there is only the app component, the timer component, the sample directive, and the sample pipe added to the declarations array. But on my app component HTML, I have a button that loads a dashboard component lazily. Now the dashboard component is not a part of the declarations array, right? So it's obvious that it's not going to be generated as a part of the main bundle. It would somehow be generated in a separate chunk. So how do we render that in Angular 9 without using these new APIs? Well, we use the exact same thing that we used to do. So this time around, we are using the dynamic import statement in order to load that JavaScript module. And then we destructure the dashboard component out of it. Then what we do is we already have the component factory resolver injected as a dependency on our app component. So we call that along with passing the dashboard component that we got from this dynamic import. And then we also have a view container ref. This view container ref is somehow referencing this dev element by using this template variable, which is the host for lazy component. So I have a view child that I'm referencing this host for lazy component by, and I'm reading the view container ref from there. So I now have a view container ref on the top of which I can call the create component method and then pass it the factory. And once I get an instance, I can then also assign a few properties that might be present on this component class, which is like this show property. With all that in place, if I check this out, so if I open up localhost 1400, now I can just do that because the app is already running for me. So I see this load dashboard lazily component. This load dashboard lazily button. Now, since this is going to be loaded lazily, what you'll see that as soon as I click on this button, you'll see an additional request going on, and this would download that additional chunk for the dashboard component. So as soon as I click that, the dashboard component chunk gets downloaded and it gets rendered onto the screen right here. And this is an old photo of Dave that we see right here on the screen. All right. But the code that we see here is extremely verbose as well, right? I mean, there is quite a lot of things that we have to do in order to render component with Angular 9 at the moment without using the newer APIs. So this is simplified by uh, the render component IV instruction that we have seen, because as soon as we get a hold of the component, then we just have to call render component on it. and then provide it a host, because this syntax is something that we have already seen, right? This is the render component IV instruction that we call, and then we pass it the component which has everything on it, and then we also provide it a host. And that's all that we have to do in order to render it. So if there is a second section here wherein I have a button and I call the load component dashboard lazily via render component, which is this method right here. In this method, I'll still have to call the dynamic import statement and then pass it the path of this component where it is present. But then as soon as I get a hold of this component, then I can just call the render component IV instruction and pass it the host, which is like the app dashboard app loaded via render component, which we see right here. So instead of calling these component factory resolver and stuff like that, you just have to call render component, and that's going to take care of everything on its own. You don't have to deal with all that verbosity that we used to deal with. That is great. Another great thing about this render component is that it also has this host property, and this host property just needs some sort of an element that it can sit on. So you can pass it anything, literally anything, in order to render. So at this moment, I was passing it this app loaded via render component. So let's say that if I wanted to, on the click of the button, call the same method, then I can pass it an argument, which would be for the host. And then instead of hard coding the host name right here, I can simply pass it whatever I get from the caller. So if it is called for the first time, then it will give me app loaded via for this long selector name. For the second time, it will give me just anything right here. So with that in place, one good thing about this is you don't have to actually use the exact same selector that we had on this loaded via render component class, which is this, right? So now I will be able to render this component even without using the exact same selector that I had, which is also very great. So if I open this up, then I see two buttons here. If I click on the first button, it will render this component. And then it also loaded this component lazily, right? But now that this component has already been loaded, if I press this button again, it will not create a second request. It will just use the exact same definition of this component that we get from the initial call. So if I click on this, okay, something has broken. So I'm clicking on this, but things are not working. Let's see if I get anything in the console. Nope. Okay. Let me just go back and okay, let's just reload the application and see if this works. Okay, so I click on this first button. It loads this component. It also loads the definition by making a call. If I click it again, I see the exact same component getting loaded. It was probably an issue with compiling the whole application, because of which it was probably not working. But yeah, now that the application has finished compilation, I see that on the click of both of these buttons, I'm able to load the exact same component, but with using two different hosts. Once I'm able to use this host, which is right here, and then I'm also able to use a different host this time. Also, since this component was downloaded once, I'm able to load that exact same component twice without sending an additional request, which is also great. But what if I wanted to um, do something like dependency injection? What happens in that case? So let's say, for example, let me just close this HTML so that I have a wider screen. So in this case, we are using or we are loading this particular component that we see right here. Let's say that on this component, I wanted to inject a data service as a dependency, and then I wanted to make an API call and log whatever I got from that API call to the console. What happens in this case? So let's try doing that. Now I'll click on the load dashboard button. It makes that call to download this chunk for the component, but I'm not able to see anything right here. If I go to the console, I also see that there is an error that says something like inject must be called from an injection context. Now, this is a lazy component that was downloaded, right? So it might not have context of things like where exactly can it inject a specific dependency from. That's why Angular is throwing this error. But the good thing about the render component is that I can also pass it a host. And then apart from the host, I can also pass it an injector. So there is an injector field that I can supply. And I already have injected the injector as a dependency on this component. So I can just pass it that. So the injector for this would be this dot injector. Let's save this, wait for it to load. Let me clear everything. Now, as soon as I click on this button, you'll see that there is a network call going on to download the component. There was also this additional API call that was made to the request.in, which loaded this data somehow. And then I go to the console and I also see that data getting logged, which is from this particular point where we logged uh, inside the subscribe. Right? So now I'm able to also inject this service as a dependency into this lazily loaded dynamic component, which was the demonstration for. Now I'm done with all the demos, and now you might be thinking where exactly to from here. So um like I said, the Angular team is constantly working on making Angular modules optional, and with that, there is also a proposal by Minco. When what if I wanted to use some other specific declarables like a directive or a pipe, right? Because at this point, let's say that instead of using this data service and subscribing to the method, what if I had a user dollar observable of type any, let's say, and then inside that I just um, initialize that to a call to the get data method. What happens in this case? Well, what I would generally do is that now in the template I would go and then use the async pipe, right? So let's say that inside a pre tag I use the async pipe with this user dollar observable, right? If I save this and go back to the application, and let's also try to load this component. As soon as I load it, I see that the component gets loaded, but then there is an error saying that the pipe async could not be found, right? So right now what's happening is that this component was loaded dynamically. So there are quite a lot of things that it doesn't really know about, right? Like say for example, if we talk about dependency injection, initially it didn't really know about dependency injection. And so we had to pass it injector in order for it to understand that, okay, there is an injector that I can use to inject this service as a dependency. But what happens in case of these other things like some other pipes that you might already have in your application or some directives of sorts, right? So it's probably still not possible, but there is a proposal given by Minco. So I'll highly recommend you all to check this proposal out. The link to this proposal is right here on this slide. And what he proposes is that if there are some other declarables, like there is this zippy component and then there is this capitalized pipe, and if I wanted to use that inside my component without using Angular modules, then I could just use a depth array and then pass in all these things that my component might depend on, and it should still work as expected. Now, this thing is still not implemented as such in Angular, but this is just a proposal, and we might see something like this probably in a far future from here. And with that said, thank you all so much for listening to me, and um, please do let me know if you do have any questions regarding this. If you don't have any questions regarding this, and you might get questions after uh, reiterating through the talk, please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at this handle, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that I can. That's it. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Whoop,
Thank you, Sid. Nice.
Thank you so much, Robin.
Great. Anyone has questions so far? Woohoo! So, any questions? Typically, it's Dave who has a question. Dave,
No,
When
I
feeling
try
around.
to clap. I try to clap, but it doesn't work. Oh no.
Nice. Cool. Any questions? Any questions from the YouTube stream?
No, but YouTube liked the talk. Great talk, we are saying.
I can't hear you, but it's now again.
Why not?
I heard it.
Better?
Positive feedback.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Okay, nice.
I have a question.
Cool.
I just want to know if you, because you did some research as well already regarding the optional modules, and I'm just curious if you found an application that works already without modules. I'm just curious if you found something in your research.
Uh, so a full-fledged application, you mean?
Or like anything, it doesn't have to be like a big, huge, awesome, scalable application, but if there is already something like a GitHub repo or something like a small application, which is or shows already like, yes, you can do that without modules.
I couldn't find any specific thing as such, but there is this. There are these examples that I already had in the slides, so that's all I've got so far. But any other application apart from that, I didn't really come across any of these.
Yeah, all good. I was just curious if you found something.
Mhm. I'll probably let you know if I do, but yeah, so far,
Yeah.
I guess these are a few POCs that we come across every now and then. But apart from that, not really.
But it was a great talk. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks,
Nice,
Martina.
nice.
Thanks, Robin.
Okay. So when there are no other questions so far, I would say we're doing a small break, and we're going to start at 1940 our time. So it's in 8 minutes. So everybody can like go to the toilet or get some drinks or whatever. And so then I will introduce WebDave to his next talk in 8 minutes. Good. See you in 8 minutes.
Okay.
Awesome.
So, welcome back. Dave, where are you? Dave.
Right behind you.
Ah, there's Dave. Hey, Dave. Can I help you to place your screen?
There's a question on YouTube about the next in-person meeting.
What is the question?
About the next in-person meeting in Berlin.
Ah, okay. Depends on the regulations. If where are you? Yes.
Here.
If regulations it's going 3 more, I think maybe we do the next one in 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
So okay. Dave, are you ready? I can't hear you. Maybe you're muted.
Yes, I was muted.
All the time. Nice.
Good. Now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
So, Karina, place yourself so that you can hear Rep Dave loud and clear. I also will increase the sound a little bit. Oh, you stopped your sharing again.
No, I didn't.
Sorry, it was my mistake.
Someone deleted the screen. Nice. Okay, maybe try to reshare it.
Yep.
Then we're going to place it again.
There it is.
Okay. Okay. So maybe like this, and also everybody can use this 3 blocks on the right top corner to get a view of the slides of WebDive in a full screen mode, as Anastasia told us before. So, Karina, are you ready? Set up?
Yes.
Cool. So, then I'm going to introduce our next speaker. It's WebDave from Germany. He's a Google developer expert, trainer on different portals, also on our portals Angular.de, Workshops.DE. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He works all the time, as you maybe see in his slides. And yeah, big applause for WebDave. Welcome.
Thank you for this kind introduction. Okay. Okay, let's start. Okay, first of all, I have to make some noise for this. I know it's not Tuesday, but I think nothing has changed about the importance of this, and so Black Lives Matters, and we all. I hope I don't need to explain anything about this. I'm pretty sure almost every one of you is aware about what's happening in the world everywhere, not only in US, also in Germany and everywhere where you're just placed. And yeah, it's important to speak out and make some noise to help the underrepresented people or people that are not um, that well known and well heard. And keep in mind how long 9 minutes are. I start my counter now, and I will say I will mention when the 9 minutes are over. I start it now. Okay. First of all, I have to do a special shout out to these two awesome women. You can see here, this is Madeleine and Franziska. Both of them helped me a lot uh, with these slides because it's a very tough topic. It's not technical, but it's very important for the technical stuff, for the technical community and for your technical life. Also, you can apply all this stuff I am talking about to every single section of your life, and you can help make the world a better place and your life for sure. Yeah, hashtag community rocks is a hashtag I created way back. So this is how I show how I can see how the community works very well. Okay, who am I? I'm WebDave. My real name is there written. This is how I looked when I took this picture back in, I don't know when it was. Yeah, I'm a developer, as Robin said. I'm doing workshops. Consulting, mentoring, and so on. I do AMA session, ask me anything sessions on YouTube and Twitch once per month about this. Sometimes you have to wait a bit longer, but you can find me on the typical social media platforms with my webdave_de handle. I have a blog, webdave.de, where I write about stuff I met in my technical life and how I came to my technical life. I wrote an article about this. And of course, I'm on GitHub because this is important to have a GitHub account to save work for later. Okay, and I'm a bit hyperactive when it comes to community work. So I'm, as Robin mentioned, I'm part of the Angular DE team. So this is the platform and one of the sponsor of this meetup, which is part of the Workshops.DE. And then I'm doing stuff for Swiss Angular, which is the Angular community in Switzerland. Shout out to Sebastian Gosebring. Then I do some stuff for the guys in Austria. This is this one here. This is I forgot the name. Angular experts. I'm not sure. They renamed it just. Shout out to Manfred and Michael Latke. Both of them are part of the team. And I run a meetup in Hamburg, Angular Hamburg, and I'm part of the Angular the conference NGDE, which we have planned to make happen this year, but we had to postpone it for some well-known reason. Yeah, and I'm a Google Library expert. So this has been just 3 minutes, just by this. And yeah, I'm also rocking. If you meet me, then you will notice that I will have some music in my head all day, and sometimes I'm available to jam, as I did with, I guess it was with Robin in his band back in Essen. It was nice. Okay, and I am Antifa. Important. Antifa means anti-fascist, means no racism, no homophobe, and so on. Okay, so this is nothing bad. This is important. I am Antifa. So my avatar, you can see my avatar has an hero, and it has yellow hair. I guess it was. I picked it yesterday. When I was 16, I had blue hair and green hair. I'm not sure if there are no pictures about this, but it was, and I was way more into Antifa than I am now. I was very active. So, Okay, let's go. Let's start this talk. What is diversity? As I mentioned, I'm a musician, and in the musician context, you learn the wording diversity very quick. You get, when it comes to wireless connection between your guitar, your microphone, and the amplifier, and the table and all this stuff, then you will get the question: okay, is your system diverse or non-diverse? Means, is there and the way for, have you some backup ways for, is there a single way for sending and a single way for receiving? And so this was the very first time when I heard this back in 1962 or like this, and I was, okay, diversity is important and this is great, but we are not talking about this here. We're talking about some other things of diversity. And I'm pretty sure you already know what about it is. We talk about diversity in mindset, in culture, in color, in religion, diversity in persons, in your teams, in your community, in your community, in your family, what else? How does all this started? Back in the 18th century, there was a situation which is scary, because we have the same situation now. There have been people fighting for their rights to get heard and get seen from the minority. And this was the time when they were fighting for to stop slavery. And yeah, at the moment we have exactly the same fight. So this fight is not only, it's not just started last week when George Floyd was killed by was murdered by these 4 police officers. It started back in the 18th century when the first time people started to speak out that there is something weird and something totally sick in this community, in the world. When you when I started searching for diversity in the beginnings, I came up with some important persons. One of the first person was Hannah Moore, educator, writer, social reformer. So nowadays she would be called influencer, I guess. And she was one of the first women who speak out for rights for women. The second was Mary Prince. She was a black woman, and she was the first noticed woman with black woman who started to publish her account about against slavery and how it is to be an enslaved woman. So this is the very first beginning of this fight and of this situation and of this movement when we started to try to change everything. And then in 1813, there was a man born. His name is David Livingstone. He was the missionary, and he saw how slaves have been treated, and he started thinking about all the system and what is going wrong here. And he was the person who started this change in the system when they said, okay, slavery is not okay, and we have to stop it. So his the result of his work is that from this there was a law then that slavery is forbidden. We all know that there is still slavery on the world, so it's not totally gone. We are still all of the world, all of the place. People are still fighting with this, but these 3 people started this movement to fight for rights, for equal rights for everyone. which is totally important. If you think about that your rights are regarding on your color, on your name, on your last name, and so on. This sounds for me very weird as a German people, as a German born man. This is strange, but I see it a lot in my life. So we have to fight against it, and we have to, yeah, we have to fight against it, and we have to work for the change. Okay, their main concerns have been stop slavery and equal rights. So, but what is the problem with non-diverse community or non-diverse group, non-diverse team? One picture to explain it. If your team looks like this, then you have a diversity problem, because so maybe your team don't look like this, but we are talking about the mindset, about the culture. If everyone has the same mindset, then you can replace everyone on every position. This could be something, okay, yeah, can be a good thing, but you will end up with this problem. You will say, okay, wait, why do we don't have any fresh ideas? If there is never a person who starts thinking in another way, then you will not be able to develop new ideas or new ways, new solution for any problems. And unfortunately, I have a lot of stuff, a lot of things which you can buy, which has definitely developed by a non-diverse team. Let me start with a problem which I faced with a friend of mine. I guess you all know what this is. This is a hand dryer. Okay, you can put your hand on this, and then here is the infrared sensor. He checks there is your hand, and then it starts to dry. So I was on a way on a road trip with a friend, and he's from Ghana. This is important because he's a black man, and he said, "Hey, I have to pee," and we had a lot of coke in the car, so it was a good point to drive to the next stop, and yeah, and so we went to the toilet, and when we both come out to wash our hands, he said to me, there have been 2 hand dryers of these kind of things, and he said, "Hey Dave, take a look at this," and he put his hand under this hand dryer with the outside of the hands upside, so that the opposite side, as you can see it here, and it didn't start it. And I said, "Oh wait, there's another one. I tried this one." And he said, "No, wait, take a look at this." And he turned his hands so that the inside of his hands was showing, was top down, was facing up to these sensors, and then it started. And it took me about, I don't know, it took me about 2 minutes until I realized what happens. The infrared sensors didn't recognize his black skin. And I was, wait a minute, how do black people dry their hands? And he showed me, you always have to switch the hands, one hand up, one hand down, and then switch the other side around, so that you can trick with these infrared sensor. And I was, wait, is this just this type or this model, or is this in all this stuff? And he said, this is in all stuff. In every single infrared tool, it has this problem. And I was, oh, fuck. Or how can you handle your all day life? Yeah, it's a problem. And he said, if the team who developed this kind of technique has a diverse team, we wouldn't face these problems. Not a problem. What can you see here? You see just a dress, okay? I don't pick this dress because I like it. I just picked this dress because it's just a dress. And you can easily see this dress don't have any pockets. Okay, but women always carry their clutch, so they don't need pockets. Oh, wait. Women need pockets because very often they have to put stuff in it. If you think about some some stuff like we have right here, VR. If you think about VR technology, normally you would carry a receiver, then you have some controls, and then you will have a VR glasses to walk around. So now, as a woman, you need to put your stuff into a clutch, and then you have to handle all this stuff. A man can just put the receiver in the pocket and can walk around, but a woman has to think about, okay, how, where can I put my stuff? So this means this kind of clothes. I know there are also some suits without any pockets and so on. But with some clothes, sometimes you exclude people or exclude people to using your technology or some technology. It means women with dresses without pockets will never be able to use VR, AR, or some other technical stuff without carrying some kind of clutch. So that's a problem. For example, my wife, so I'm married, I have 3 kids, 3 boys. So we are a lot of in the woods to doing some bushcrafting stuff. So we have always have, at least everyone has a knife, and we have some first aid kits, and we have some bottles of water, and we have some ENSO stuff. Yeah, so the kids have their own backpacks, and my wife has always to carry a clutch because she needs to put her knife somewhere. And we had some numbers of situations where we have running through the woods and searching for where she placed her clutch, because when we start exploring the place, then we forgot where we have all the stuff, and a clutch is very unhandy in the wood. So she came up with these cargo trousers where you have the pockets on your legs, and which makes her very happy. So sometimes it's important to think about who should or who could use this these clothes, or this my product, if it is a hand dryer or is it just a clothes, just to think about what kind of problem can a person have with this. And it's sometimes very hard to find the view of another person if you are not affected by this. So a diverse team is a good point here. So if you have a diverse team, then there will be someone who say, wait, why no pockets? Let's talk about the man, because this is just mostly a man problem. If you now looking on just some colored dots, then you have these problems. Men have way more often color blindness. So if you have not a team where at least one person is affected by this problem, maybe you will end up with green UI with green text and green buttons for people who have this kind of color blindness, and which is not usable for them. So this is something I faced very late. Was when it took me along until I met the first person who had this problem, because in my family it seems it doesn't exist. But until I met someone who said, "Oh wait, I can't see this," and I was, "Wait, why not?" But there is a button. For me it's just green. I don't see anything, and I was, wait. So if you have a diverse team, you will not have this problem. You will have someone who say, wait, let's check. Can we have more contrast? Can we use other colors? Can we have a switch to switch the colors that other people can use it as well? So if you have if you want to end up with a product which is usable for many people, then you need to have a diverse team. But how does diversity look like? Short questions. Is this diverse? No. These are just the same piece of a puzzle. I just copied and turned it by 90 degrees and pasted it next to it. So it's exactly the same. So this is not diverse. But what about this? This is kind of diverse because all they are looking a different shape, these puzzles, but there's something missing. The whole picture is missing. There's something they more or less look all the same. They more or less think all the same. This is what I mentioned earlier. If you have a team which looks very different, but everyone has the same mindset, then you have exactly this kind of puzzle, which is not nice. I can't imagine my kids would have fun to solve these puzzles because it's so boring. What about this? Okay, we have now many puzzles, and now they have different colors and different shapes. So this is okay. Um, this is a good way. Yeah, okay. It's on the right way. So it's very colorful. But what we want to end up is we want to end up with like this, with a team. Okay, we want to end up with a team which is diverse, which works together, which talks together, and which is able to live together. So we are, as I said earlier, you can apply this topic to every single section of your life, to your work life, to a team, to your community, to your friendship, to your posse, to your whatever. You can apply it to everything, to every situation in your life, and say, okay, how can I? Is this a good situation for me, and do we get the best out of this situation? And if you are here or here, then maybe you will definitely miss something. And only if you have a team which works together very well, then you will have the best, will be able to get the best outcome of the situation. But how can we get a diverse team? So the problem is that when you start a team or start a community or start a group of people for friendship, whatever, what else, then you mostly start with something who is very similar to you, and then is the very big task to get opened for other people. And how is this possible? The first rule is this: be nice. It's so easy. We see at the moment exactly the opposite. How you not be nice, shooting tear gas tanks on people just to make a fucking selfie in front of a church, holding a Bible in the air, and then go straight back is not nice. But being nice is just if you are nice, then you will be seen as someone who is open for other people, and then you will be your team will grow, your community will grow, and then you will get more people joining your group with other mindsets, and this is what we want. So be nice. Sometimes it's that easy. Second, take care. Take care means take care about your team, about your group of people. If you are part of a group, of a community, then you are kind of responsible for them. So that means if there is someone talking bad or mad about another or behaves bad, then you have to speak out. This is your responsibility. Take care means let me say it very clear. I don't want to end up in a police state, okay? You are in Berlin. I don't have to explain what it means to be in a police state. When you look in the history books, you have been there for 25 years, which is now 25 years ago. But yeah, it's long ago that we no 30 years ago. It's long ago, but almost everyone is remembering how it works. It worked in the DDR or the DDR or like Running Man. Okay, report your parents and you will get free, whatever. No, um, this rule take care must be taken together with be nice. Don't be the German. Okay, German people will totally, I hope, will know what I mean, and people who know German will also know because German are very well known for these these raising fingers and pointing on others and saying, "Wait, you." And this is something we learned very well. So, but this is not a good approach to be nice or to take care. So, if we want to take care, we want to be nice. Okay, very important. Um, then be inclusive means be open for others. So you all know Pac-Man. So if you are on a place like a conference and you find someone, then you start talking to them, to him or to her, then someone else will join. And if there are people joining, make sure that you always have one space left in your round that others can join. If you close the circle, then others will have this threshold to I don't know if it's the right word, but in the music business we talk about thresholds. It's you don't want to have this threshold to enter a discussion, conversation, whatever, to join this. Yeah, make sure that you have always one space open for other people to join. I know if you have at the end 60 people, you will end up in a very big round, but hey, this is family, big families. So make sure you show that you are open. Yeah, being nice and taking care is useless and worse that if no one sees. Yeah, and this is a very easy approach to show that you are open for others, so that they can join. For sure, if this person here joins, then everyone steps back, and then we will open another space for the next one. So this is how it works. So this is called the Pac-Man strategy. I'm not sure if it's the real name, but I learned it like this. So being nice and taking care, but what about jokes? This is a hard topic. Jokes are very important for every team, for every community, for every group of people, because this is what breaks the ice in the first time. But they are not allowed to be offensive or disturbing or hateful or racism or what else, homophobe, whatever. You know what I mean. So you sure you can do jokes, but take care about the reaction of others and take care about the context where you get this joke. So if you get this kind of inside jokes, they are mostly better to keep them private, because mostly these inside jokes will create a situation where someone is hurt or disturbed or offended. So I have an example for this. I I know a situation where someone said to someone, "Hey, I have a little thing in store for you," which he was. This was an inside joke by this team, because it means if you have a task and you want to need the help from someone else, or you want to ship the task on the list to a list of another person, then you said, "Hey, I have a little thing in store for you," and this took. This is a very private inside joke at this time, and the person who this person talked to was a person who didn't know this joke, and this person was totally in panic when it was a woman, when she heard this sentence and said, "Oh, fuck what is going on. So she was totally scared and in panic. Um, so she reached out to someone to get help for the situation, and this person um, was some kind of mediator to talk to, and they talked together, and then they came up, okay, he apologized, and then they tried to get back to normal, and okay, I recognize this is something I shouldn't do. So being nice and taking care and all this stuff is always combined with learning. By the way, learning is this kind of thing which makes an intelligent person. Okay, if you are able to learn, then you are an intelligent person. So, and if you make some jokes, and in 10 times they worked well, and in 11 times you see some strange reaction, then maybe you should go there and apologize and talk to this person, and maybe you can help, or you can just show this person that how, and explain it to them. So this is something I have to do very often, because I'm a person full of jokes, and um, I try to think about the context of other people, but this is not possible. You can't have every single or possible kind of context in mind when you are talking funny stuff. So take care about others when they react on your jokes, and if they are reacting not in that way you expected it, uh, don't blame them. Go there, ask for the context, and or just say, oh, I'm sorry, apologize, and that's it. Sometimes they don't want to talk. Just go there and say, oh, I saw it, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it like this. Okay, this is something, this is how intelligent persons show that they are open, and that they are willing to learn. Very important sentence is, treat others as you would like to be treated. Okay, so no one wanted to be treated like an asshole. No one wanted to be treated like the hidden, beaten dog in the corner, or like the no one wants to. Everyone wants to have the same rights. Everyone wants to have a safe space where uh, everyone can stand and can breathe, just without any panic or fear of something like that. So just treat others like you would like to be treated, and this is very easy way to take care about the situations and so on. And, be a hero. Okay, so if you see something, say or do something. Just if you see someone standing beside in your team or in your community and being very isolated, just go there and just talk. No, don't criticism. No, this is just go there and talk. Maybe you get some criticism from this person because of what you just said, and but this is, again, this is the way we learn. If we get reflection of what we did and how we can do better, this is it. So um, I want her to send it. It's the most effective way. Also, criticism is the most effective way to grow the character and skills. So this is the only. So this is why we have some kind of retrospective on after each sprint. If you do some sprint, yeah, then you have, okay, let's see what works well, what didn't work well, and which kind of stuff we want to get rid of. And this is the same stuff for your life. You have to talk about, think about, and communicate. Communication is the key. And all these things will creating a welcoming environment, and this will come up with a diverse team or a diverse group of endure, and this is which this leads to success, definitely. There is no way around. And for sure, respect. Yeah. So if you have how to stay a diverse team, so this is how we can get a diverse team. So how can we stay a diverse team? Show respect for others. Show respect for their mindset, for their effort, whatever they do. Yeah. Um, don't be an asshole just by talking. Oh, this is so shitty. Oh, wait, this is your new car. This is ugly. Oh, this is your new. These are your new shoes. They are. Why should you talk like this? So just show respect. Oh, you draw this sketch of something. Okay, can you explain what it is? Okay, just don't show respect for the effort someone put in their work. This is important. Um, so how can you inclusive in your team community, in your group, or however? I will draw this picture on my daily business when I do mentoring and code reviewing and teaching. Okay, so but you can take exactly the same and use it in your normal group, family, what else community when you start talking to others. Um, avoid belittling words. um, Very often when I talk to junior or beginner developer, then they came up with, oh, I it took me 2 days to come up with this solution. Yeah, my first attention is then, oh, 2 days is very long. um, but it's totally easy. This is just a task for 1 hour. But this belittling the effort and the context, no, the effort and the minds and so on, which is these people, this person has put in this solution. So this will make them feeling sad and mad and dumb, and this will end up with, maybe you will end up with a person who will stay in your team, but they will maybe not be at the end come to their skills and be that good developer as they can be. So maybe don't try to use this, oh, it's just that easy. Try to, oh, I faced the same last time I tried this, nothing else. No, don't come up with, oh wait, this should take just these few minutes, or this was just easy, you can use it like this. No, just use, oh, I show that you say that you know no god and no hero like this. Yes, so that you have faced the same problems, and just say, okay, oh wait, this is I faced the same problem. I maybe this helped, this help, and maybe you want to test this like this. Just try to avoid this, oh, this is just so easy, oh wait, this was too long, like this. Because we all know, I hope you all know your junior times, when you started development, that's how long it took me every time. Still, it takes me when I try to figure out how array, what is splice and slice every time. Or I always have the same situation when I try to write in regex. So regex takes me every time. Every single regex is 1 day. So, and I know there are people out there, they know regex. I heard about them. Uh, but this is something, remember these times and try to talk to people, and don't let them feel dumb, because they will stay and they will be motivated. This is a motivating kind of speak. And don't try to use these absolutes like, oh, I solved this like this, and you should use it like this. Maybe think about the context where this person is in. Maybe let's talk about like this. Um, for example, you can say something like, okay, I solved it like this. I knew there are many solutions and so on and so on. Or, oh, you found this way to solve it. This is interesting. Let's show me how it works. So you can swap the role. You can get teach by these people, this person, or you can learn something from them. And they, oh, this is nice. For me, I've never been to a university. I'm totally self how it's called, autodidact. I teach myself everything I knew, and so I teach myself many stuff, which is maybe not the best way. And so I'm very happy when I can learn from others. So I try to swap this role to get teach from others, always, every time. Because first of all, uh, if the other person is telling you and explaining to you, then you can see um, or the people this person recognize if it get it the point of the solution, and if it is correct. And if you try to explain, you have to know exactly the mechanism. So this is something you should have back in mind. So you can teach by getting teached, and just be open and say, okay, oh, this is a nice solution. I used it like this, but let me show you, let me see your solution, show me it to you, and then teach it to me like this. And if you came up with the solution, and the solution this person is not the correct one, or it's not the solution you want to use, then you should, or if you have a task for someone, or have some, what else, explain why this person should do it like this. Because if there is a why, and if this person understands why, then this person is mostly every time um, in the mood to start try to understanding what is going on, and try to this person will try to use it like you tried to teach them. So the why is very important. When I try to teach my, or to tell my kids something, hey, go and do this, mostly nothing happens. But when I explain, okay, we have to do this because we want to do that, then my kids, mostly kids, mostly they get the point, and then they do it. So the why is very important. And as I mentioned before, consider the context. Think about, why is someone using some kind of technology, some kind of solution, whatever. When I take a look at this kind of this online platform, Stack Overflow, for example, very often the first answer of a question is, why should you go for this? No, maybe there is in context, and maybe this person has to use this kind of tech stack, or this person has to handle this kind of stuff, because it's the context. So consider context, and maybe you are wrong, maybe I am wrong. So this is something I ask myself. I try to ask myself every single day: am I on the right way? Is this the correct way I try to teach? Is this the right way? Or is there someone who just found a better way, the right way, and I just did a workaround? So the context is very important. Okay, and at the end, I just want to mention, if you are running a community, or you are looking for some more rules, how you can, or you are looking for ideas, how you can change your behavior, and what kind of stuff you want to be aware of and want to take care of, then maybe you want to look in the Berlin Code of Conduct, which is just a code of conduct. Almost all the tech communities in Germany are assigned to, and which is okay. What is allowed and what is not? What is allowed is very German phrase. What is a good way and what is a bad way? You don't want to use wording, and this wording would make people stay away. So consider to read this and think about think of your doing, and yeah, that's it, I guess. So I totally forgot the 9 minutes. We are at 45 minutes, so we are 5 times more than this. I explained 9 minutes to my son like this. I said 9 minutes is a third of your way with the subway to your school, and this was a too classical explanation, and I have it was we started both to cry, and it was so awful. Okay, I hope you find something useful here, and I hope you you start thinking, and you have some kind of feedback for me to improve my behavior. And if there are any questions, then it's time now. I see hearts. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Dave, really, really much. That was really good, and I'm really like empowered by you stepping up, talking about that, because I know it for myself. We all have this feeling, the knowledge that diversity is important, but we all don't really know how to talk about. And I'm really, really, really proud to have you here, and that you step up and talk about it, and share your thoughts, share your opinion on that, and yeah, educate more people on the topic, so they will like continue your way, and also tell people yeah, about the way we can make the world a better place. So thank you a lot.
Yeah, thanks.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm waving hearts again at you.
I do have
Thank
a
you.
question.
Sure.
Can I ask a question? Can you
Sure.
hear me? Okay, yes. Because like I mean this is such a sensitive topic, and I really like your talk, and it's really, really inspiring. And like of course like I really liked your one of your first slides where you presented the slide of all the same looking men, and they asking, oh, how could we should make a difference? But yeah, you can't, you always search for the same persons, right? Because that's how it goes. But what do you do if you're in the position that you are surrounded? Like in my case, I'm surrounded in a group, and we want to empowering women, and but I'm just surrounded like with white women, and I really like to and I noticed that this is an issue, like kind of an issue, but I really want to have more diverse team in that sense. But how do you how is a good way to reach out for a more diverse team, or maybe women who have a different culture or different ethical background? Because it's I don't know, I have really had issues like even talking about it, because we have right now an issue that we want to reach out for women who come from a different ethical background, but I don't know where to start. I don't know where to find like it, because it should also not look like, oh, we just want to have you to have a diverse team. Of course not, and that's not the reason. But it's good to have a diverse team. And so how do you bring up the sensitive topic to someone maybe?
Yeah. First of all, I try to search on the place where these people are hanging around. So this is the first thing. So if you always search for at the same places, then you will always find the same persons or the same kinds of persons. And if you search on these kind of on these kind of communities or these kind of places, then you will come up with some uh, possibilities. And then especially in this topic, is very often is just to come into conversation, and then after a time, so hey, do you want to join? So to come up with this question to join would be never the first uh, thing I would talk about. Just show what you're doing, show how you're doing, and then after some times, maybe, hey, do you want to join? Like this.
Yeah. I also would add something to that, Martina, if you don't want to answer on the question directly or on the saying of Dave.
No, okay, go on. I just listen.
Okay. So I more and more try to live my life to the aspect of provoked coincidence. So I think it's a wrong way to like actively push people just to be diverse. I think you have to be open and like also Dave said, like bring yourself into different communities. I think like you did for example, by flying to NG India, or also be active in many different communities. And then I think if you create an inclusive environment, what is welcoming people to from any kind to join your team, when it's a fit for the team, I think people will come naturally. So you can force it, but you can like provoke coincidence in that you're joining different communities, share your thoughts, so that you don't only move yourself in a really homogene communities.
Yeah, so it's more like it's starting from your own personal openness, like like you said, okay, I just flew to India or I just flew to China to get into these communities as well.
And I think it's also true for a whole team. So when you're like a team, your team needs to be more open and yeah, in the best way you try to build it up in this way from the beginning, but that's not always possible. So you have to educate people to be more open, to respect, and also to yeah to like welcome and include other.
Yeah, it's just sometimes so hard because I don't like I don't want to it's like I don't want to be outcalled in a sense of, oh, you just have a team of white women, and I'm more like, I'm sorry, it's not like that. It's not like, I don't know. I feel really, really bad about this, to be honest, sometimes, because it's not like that. That I'm just searching for a white woman. I don't care. It's just I don't care. Whoever wants to join can join. It's more like that. It's just such a sensitive topic, I guess.
I know it's the same by us. I you know that you're also like the only woman in our trainer team, and it's also really hard because I don't want to really like force people into it, and I try to create more and more welcoming space. So hopefully that will like diverse on the movement. So I'm like in the same situation like you are,
Yeah.
and it's like it's not something that you can like solve from the one day to another. I think it's like for example, we at the moment really we creating the website and really going to think about okay how can we also communicate more like open, including and diverse, so that our web presence and our tweets, everything is more welcoming for people to allow people to come into our circles. Yeah.
And thank you, Franziska, for your comment regarding this hashtag. This tech scene. I guess I will take a look into that. Thank you so much for this comment.
Yeah.
But it's not. But I guess like what I have learned as well. Just reach out to Franziska. she knows everyone.
Yes. Yeah, same here. Okay. Great. Cool. Anyone else here who has thoughts they want to share on on this topic?
I guess right now in our room it's just the 5 of us. Like
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at YouTube. Okay, Franziska invited us all to write direct messages via Twitter. So I can share Franziska's Twitter handle on the channel. So
The Twitter handle have been on my slide.
yeah, it has been on slides from WebDave. Also, it's posted in the YouTube channel and here. So Franziska is really, really nice and has a lot of knowledge and experience in that topic. So she invited you all to contact her. And yeah, so if you have questions, when maybe you want to private chat because you don't want to do it in public like here. So feel free to write every one of us or Franziska to if you have questions. Cool. Okay. So I think really nice. Thanks everybody for joining and watching and doing the talks. It was really interesting. I liked it a lot. I was really impressed. And yeah, so I definitely go like Anastasia here showing those hearts here. I go out with a lot of new knowledge, technical and also like community diversity knowledge. It was really great. Hope you all learned a bit, and yeah, looking forward to our next meetings, meetups. Let's meet on Twitter, Slack, whatever. Yeah, have all a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you so much for organizing this.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Hearts everywhere. Cool. Okay, last one. Who's leaving the room has to clean up.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you on
See you, bye.
We can
YouTube
keep this
for
space
watching the stream.
for some meetings.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Like we